informing my audience about concussions in the NFL. Football and concussions pretty much go hand in hand with each other. Usually whenever you turn on a football game, there's always consistent physical contact with the players. And football is a tough sport with nothing but physical contact involved. Most of the football fans usually just watch football to see the physical contact going on with the players. I guess it just gives them a thrill in the game. Concussions, the definition of a concussion is a traumatic brain injury that is caused by a blow to the head or body that shakes the brain inside the skull, causing injury and causing the brain to lose cells. Usually, or sometimes, there may be no visible signs that you have a concussion, and some concussions are more serious than others and can cause permanent brain injuries such as learning and speech impairments. Some of the symptoms with a concussion are thinking and remembering. You may not always think clearly once you have a concussion. You may feel slowed down. You may not being able to concentrate and not being able to remember with new information. And there have been some former NFL players that have had dinner and a few hours later not even remember what they ate. The physical symptoms that are involved are headache, blurred vision, dizziness, nausea and vomiting, sensitivity to light, balance problems, and feeling tired. Emotional and mood symptoms, you can become easily upset or angry. Depression is involved. Nervous or anxious, uncontrollable emotions. As far as sleep symptoms, usually you'll have a hard time falling asleep, or you may be getting too much sleep or not enough sleep. This is a chart that I found really interesting. It shows all the different sports involved, and football down here takes the chunk of it with 37% of concussions caused in the game. The second behind football is women's soccer. That's with 12%. And then gymnastics has 0%, but I just thought that was kind of interesting. It's just a visual of, just how much contact there's involved with football. Concussions have been going on, and it's been a problem now with football for about 20 years. And in 2010, the NFL finally acknowledged that many of its ex-players were suffering from chronic traumatic ETC. Concussions in the NFL made its way all the way to Congress, and in 2013, the NFL announced that they would have to spend $765 million to settle a lawsuit over brain injuries brought on by thousands of former players. So, it finally caught the attention of them, and, it's just sad because this is an ongoing thing with a lot of the football players. But traumatic brain injury, TBI, players that are at high risk for this are your quarterbacks, your wide receivers, your defensive backs, and your special teams. And this is because mainly these four positions endure most of the contact in football. Okay, TBI in players. Depending on how severe the concussion is, most players return to the game the very same day, and a lot of these players return to the game. Most of the reason why these players return to the game is because it's a fear that they're going to get cut from the team. So it's sad, but I mean it's the reality of football. 56% return to play the same day. 97% return after day 9, and 3% return after missing more than 9 days. And usually that 3% or 9, like these two right here, is a pretty severe concussion. And rest is very important after a concussion to help the brain heal. Side effects caused by TBI Research shows that players with more than one concussion will have a slower recovery in neurological functioning, and players with 4 or more concussions will have a greater chance of personality change and fatigue. These are only a few of many former players in the NFL. Wesley Walker, Dave Durson, Andre Walters, and Junior Seau. All of these men share something in common. They were all at some point in their careers big-time stars in the NFL. Tragically, they all either live with chronic pain or worse, have committed suicide due to the pain. Wesley Walker played for the New York Jets as a wide receiver. He was once the fastest players on the field, but now can hardly move. Wesley underwent neck surgery, and he now lives with 14 screws in his neck, causing chronic pain almost every single day. Andre Walters. Andre played for the Philadelphia Eagles as a defensive back. Walters played 12 seasons and retired in 1995. He suffered from depression and memory loss, and at the age of 44, he killed himself by shooting himself in the head. Walters has had a friend who suffered from concussions as well, and his friend asked the family to donate some of the brain tissue to a doctor so the doctor could examine it to see what caused it. And it turned out that he did suffer from a great deal of depression that was caused by all the concussions he received in the NFL. Dave Durson. Dave played, the last team he played for was the Chicago Bears as a defensive back. While playing for the Bears, he won 2 championship rings there. In 2011, unfortunately, he committed suicide, and he shot himself in the heart, and he left a letter to his family asking them to donate his brain to the Boston University School of Medicine so they could test his brain to see, examine it to see what led him to do this. And he also suffered from CTE. So, Junior Seau was one of the most recent NFL players who committed suicide. He played for the San Diego Chargers as a linebacker. He started a foundation in '92 just to help underprivileged youth, and he's really big out in California. He committed suicide in 2012. He shot himself in the chest. His girlfriend found him, and she mentioned how he suffered a great deal of concussions when he played in the NFL. But Seau was the type where no matter what happened to him, he always got back and played. And that was probably not the best case for him. He suffered a great deal of insomnia for the past 7 years. And a former linebacker of the name of Gary Plummer, who was friends with Seau, said, "If a linebacker doesn't see stars at least 5 times per game, he simply isn't doing his job." He also mentioned how Seau played through such great pain that most people who worked in an office wouldn't even be able to get up and go to work to do. This is just a timeline going back from 1994 all the way to now. So for the past 20 years, and it just kind of shows all the different players that have suffered a great deal of pain or who have committed suicide. So I just thought this was also a pretty good visual slideshow. Medicine and sports. A sports and exercise study was done measuring the likelihood of players in the NFL developing depression from concussions. And it showed if a player has had 3 or more concussions, they are 3 times likely to develop clinical depression. Players with 6 or more concussions are likely to develop mild cognitive impairment linked to neurodegenerative disease, which is linked to Alzheimer's. And then just like an outcome of today, like the NFL has changed a lot of rules. You no longer are able to do the head-to-head contact, that it's an automatic flag. Also, if a player's helmet falls off during the play is automatically stopped until the player can get his helmet back on. And that's the end.